Hi, I want to talk about this week's lab real quick. So let me share my screen. All right. And this week's lab is about VLANs, routers on a stick, and voice over IP. So I want you to read through this material to get some background information, but I want to show you or demo the part where we're going to work with packet tracer. So the first thing we're going to do is build this topology. So a PC, a switch, another PC, and then we're going to set the IP address on this side to 1.5, on that side 1.10. So let me get packet tracer here. All right, so let me scroll that up and put this so we can see it on the same area here. So if I go into my PC, I'm going to grab a PC, another PC, and then grab a 2960 switch. And then I'm going to cable this straight through Ethernet, and this goes to port 5, straight through Ethernet, and this goes to port 10. And then I'm going to set this IP address to 192.168.1.5 with a /24 subnet mask. And I'm going to set this one to 192.168.1.10 .5 there. Okay, so now I should be able to ping across 1.5, and that one is successful. And then if I ping on this one, and we know they can ping because they're on the same network, right? 1.anything is on the 1.0 network. So of course that's going to work. So now the next thing we want to do is click on switch 0, go into the CLI, type enable, and then type show VLAN. And you'll notice all of my ports are in VLAN 1, right? So what this means is that port 5 and port 10 are on the same VLAN, the default VLAN, which is VLAN 1. But what if we build a couple of VLANs? So let's do this. So what we're going to do is create a VLAN 5, name it students, put it on interface 05, set the switch port mode, and then the access VLAN 5. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So if I go conf t, and I'm going to do VLAN 5, name student, interface FA 0/5, switch port mode access, switch port access, VLAN 5, VLAN 10, name faculty, switch port mode access. Name faculty. Oh, I need to select the interface. No wonder it wasn't working. FA 0/10. Switch port mode access. Switch port access VLAN 10. Now, if I type exit a couple times and then type show VLAN again, you'll notice that now ports 5 and 10 are assigned to 5 is to VLAN 5 student, and VLAN 10 is to port 10. So now if I come back into my PC and try to ping 1.10, it's going to time out because we have just separated those two networks. Now they're separate virtual networks. Okay. So what do we need to communicate, right? In order for these to communicate, there needs to be a router. So let's set up a router now. So now I'm going to drag a 2811 router, but I'm going to change the IP addresses too. So let's walk through this. All right, so now I'm going to go back into my switch. Well, first let me get my router. It's a 2811, and I'll put it there, and then I'm going to cable that one from FA Fast Ethernet 00 to port 1. All right. So now one of the things I have to do first is tell this switch port that port 01 is a trunk line. So I'm going to go back in and configure terminal, go to interface FA 0/1 and do switch port mode trunk. Where the other ones were access ports, these are now trunk port. Okay, so that's all I have to do on the switch. And then over on the router, I'm gonna have to build what are known as virtual sub interfaces. Okay, so let me show you how to do that. Now, when you go into the router here, it's gonna ask you, when you click on CLI, do you wanna continue with configuration? Type no, and then type enable, and then go into the configuration. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the interface 0/0, and I need to turn it on by saying no shut. And then I'm going to create another sub interface FA 0/0.5, no shut, and then I'm going to do the encapsulation. No shut, encapsulation dot, and then that's on port 5. We give it an IP address of 5.1 with the subnet mask .0. Then I'm going to go to the interface FA 0/0.10. Let that come up, and I'm going to do no shut encapsulation dot, and this is on VLAN 10. Okay, and then I'm going to give it the IP address 119.168.10.1 with 255.255.255.0. All right, so I can go to end here, and I'm just going to write that just so we have it. Now I need to go into PC 1 or 0 and do 5.100. And I also want to put the default gateway in here, 5.1. All right, and then on this side, this is our 10 dot network. So I'm going to change this to 10.100 and 10.1. All right, so now if I ping across, you'll notice that that first one's probably going to time out while it does all the ARP addressing. But once we get that, it will have full connectivity. Okay, so I can ping from PC1 to PC2, and then I can ping from PC1 to PC2. 168.10.100. And that's so that gives us the full connectivity there. All right. So if you don't get that, make sure you have this default gateway set. If you don't have a default gateway, that router will never know how to do the inter VLAN routing. All right, so now I'm gonna close Packet Tracer and then reopen it. And the reason I do that, so it clears everything out, so I can start all over. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to build this topology. All right, so I have a router, a switch, 3 phones and 3 PCs. So let's build that real quick. So here's my router. Here's my switch. I go to end devices. Here's my phone. And then my PC. Okay. And to cable this, I think it's just a hair bigger. These are all straight through. So on the PC, I'm going to go with fast Ethernet to PC. Okay, so make sure you put those on the PC. And then the phone, I'm going to go switch. And the first phone I'm going to put on port 2. The second phone is going to go on port 3. And the third phone is going to go on port 4. And then I'm going to cable port 1 to FA00. All right. All right. And then the next thing I want to do is turn on these phones. So if I click on this phone and then click on physical, you'll notice the power connectors here. And if I drag that up to there, that will power on that phone. So I need to do that with all of these. All right. And then the next thing I want to do is if I just mouse over these, you want to write down in your lab, I have a place for it where you can write down the MAC address. So this first one's MAC address on mine is 0002.177A0198. My second phone is 0003E45E E931. And then my third phone is 0030A3CB66DD. All right, so those are my phones there. Now I need to set up my system here. Now this part says set all PCs to DHCP, but wait to do that. Don't do that right away. Come back to that right at the end. All right, so here's the adapter for the phone, which I showed. Write down the MAC address. So let's go into the switch and enable it, some of this stuff. So if we come into our switch, go to CLI, enable conf T, and what I want to do is create VLAN 10. So I'm going to go VLAN 10. And it helps if you can type VLAN 10, name data, VLAN 20, name voice. And then I'm going to go into that interface 0/1 and make that a trunk line. And then I'm going to go into the interface range FA 0/2 to 4. So I can do all 3 of those other ports with this command. And I'm going to do switch port mode access, and then switch port access VLAN 10. And then I also want to add these to my switch port voice VLAN 20. So saying any voice traffic go on VLAN 20. Okay. And then just for the fun of it, I'll write that. Okay. So now I'm going to go over to my router. And on the router, I'm going to hit CLI and I'm going to say no to this. Enable conf T. And then I'm going to go into the interface FA0/0, tell it no shutdown. And then I'm going to go into my 0/0.10. I'm going to create a virtual interface here. And I would say encapsulation dot 10. I'm going to give it the IP address of 192.168.10.1, 255.255.255.0. I'm going to do my virtual interface 0/0.20. And then I'm going to do encapsulation dot 1Q20. You hit the IP address of 192.168.20.1, 255.255.255.0, and we'll do exit. And then the next thing I'm going to do is set up my DHCP pools. So I'm going to have a DHCP pool for my data VLAN 10. And that network is going to be 192.168.10.0 with the IP address 255.255.255.0. And I want to give this side of the 10 network the default router or the default gateway 10.1. Okay. And we do another DHCP pool for my phones, call it voice 20. The network for that side of the router is 192.168.20.0, 255.255.255.0. The default router on that side is 192.168.20.1. And here I need to put this option 150 to IP 192.168.20.1. And that tells my phones when they're looking for a DHCP, they'll find it on that side of the router. Okay, so that's what that option tells them. Okay, and I'm going to switch over to the telephony service. And here I'm going to say I have a max DN of 3, which means I have 3 extensions. And I also have max E phones of 3, which means I have 3 phones. And my IP source address here, I'm going to set that to 192. And set it on port 2000. Okay, now I can go into each E phone, the N1, and that will bring the phone up. And then I'm going to give it the extension 1010 for phone 1, phone 2, 1020, phone 3, 2030. I'm going to get out of that, and then I'm going to go to the E phone 1. And this is where I need to put in that MAC address. So I'm going to do MAC address, and then mine first one was 000.2.177a.0198. And let's see. Oh, it didn't go into the, hold on. So let me do. There it goes. And then it's the registration there. And I'm going to say type 7960. Button is 1:1. Then phone 2. MAC address is 123.e.e.e931. Okay, so that or you can't reassign that, so that's fine. Type 7960. Button 1:2. All right, and then finally phone 3. MAC address 0030.A3CB.66BB. And then type 7960. And button 1:3. All right. So that gets our phone set up. So now I'm going to type end, right memory, close that. And now I should be able to go to each of these phones and they should get an IP address. So you can see some of them are already getting all their information, but let's go to PC 0 now. And we just want to set that to DHCP, and this should get a 10 dot something. So that's good. This one should get a 10 dot something. 192.168.10 dot something. DHCP. Perfect. And then this one should get a 192.168.10.4. Perfect. All right. And now our phones, we click on the GUI, we should get an extension here. Okay. But you notice this one didn't get it, but this one did. So if I go in the GUI, notice that has an extension. And then this one also has an extension. But for whatever reason, this phone is not getting a number. So what you can do if you have that problem is just unplug the power to it. So drag it up here to where it says modules, and then plug it back in. And then wait a little while, maybe 2 or 3 seconds, and it will eventually come on. So once those go green, you'll have the information. All right, so then the last part of the lab is you're just going to fill in this table. So you can just fill it in by holding the mouse over each one of your devices. So PC 0, there's the IP address, the subnet mask, and the MAC address, and the default gateway. PC 1, PC 2, phone 3, phone 2, and now phone 1 still hasn't got that number yet, but let's see here. It can take a little bit of time to do that. So it still doesn't have an IP address either. So let's come in here. Okay, that is plugged in. So we some of these you just have to wait. So there it got the IP address, and it should get the line number eventually. So it's communicating there. All right, then you can make phone calls. But before you do that, go into options, preferences, and make sure this play telephony sound is selected. By default, that's turned off. So make sure that's turned on. And then you can go to one of your phones that's working. And I'm going to dial from extension 1030. I'm going to dial 1020 and then just lift the phone off the receiver. And then I'm going to go to phone 2 and answer it. So you can see that worked. Okay. Now, phone 1 is still having some issues here, but we should be able to dial from phone 2 to phone 3 and then answer it over here, and everything works fine. Okay, so that's what we'll be doing on this week's lab. Now, if this one still doesn't come on, unplug it, give it a couple of seconds here, and then plug it back in and let it turn back on. Sometimes I've seen these even in the real world. Sometimes you have to turn them off and unplug them and plug them back in, power cycle them a couple times until it gets everything that we want. All right, so that's what we're doing in this week's lab. And let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you on Tuesday and Thursday. All right, take care. Bye.